What's up, everybody? So, welcome to episode 7 of Press Options to Start. Okay, I just recorded the last episode, and as I was recording, this topic came to mind because I did kind of bring it up in the Why I Use Controllers for PC Gaming episode. I want to say that was episode 3, 2 maybe. I don't know. I make too many things between streaming this and my 6 days a week. Yeah. So I'm going to go into being a disabled gamer. That's what I actually want to talk about. I have been streaming for a while, and I know a lot of people, and even people I've known for 5+ years, don't even realize that I'm disabled. I have a physical disability called eosinophilic fasciitis. Yeah, don't ask me to spell that because I can't. I can barely pronounce it. It's wonderful. I've had it since, really, it started when I was 14, when I started high school. I thought I had a bone chip in my wrist, had a bunch of tests done, found out no bone chip, so they're like, what the hell? Had scans, pumped in some nuclear stuff to test, see what glows, pretty much, to see if I had arthritis. I didn't have that at the time. So they're like, I wonder what it is. Fast forward 2 years later. But before I do that, let me go back a second. So what happened was I was playing basketball with some friends, and pretty much I got like karate chopped in the wrist, and it hurt. Like, holy heck did it hurt. I was ready to knock my friend out. He didn't even mean to do it, and I know that. It was just, trying to swipe the ball away, and he jabbed me straight on the wrist. And then my wrist swelled up, and I had to stop playing that day, and the swelling didn't go down for quite a bit, so that's why I got checked out. And wasn't too pleased about that. Fast forward 2 years, and the mobility in my wrist never improved. I was like, hey, what the hell? And then my hands, I was playing baseball for those 2 years. I think when I was 15 was my last year playing, and when I was hitting, my hands were starting to hurt, and I was noticing that excuse me, my fingers were starting to curl in more or less. So, like, look at your hand right now, flat out, and then curl it in a little bit like you're about to grab something. That's the way my hands, both of them, started becoming. So I was like, oh, this isn't good. Went to a rheumatologist. Actually, first I went to my doctor, my family doctor, who was an amazing man. He was like, I'm not sure what this is. Did some blood tests. My white blood cell count shot through the roof. He's like, yeah, we're going to go send you here. And then he noticed my skin from my wrist up my arm and my legs were like rock solid. So if you guys have anything like hard leather, that's what my skin became. So he's like, what is going on? We're going to go send you to a rheumatologist, which is a skin, muscle, and joint doctor, a specialist, more or less. So went to see one of them, great guy again. I've been very lucky in this case. And we did blood tests, and we did something called a skin biopsy, which a little tiny circular knife in a sense. So picture like a straw, but it's a blade, and then it has a part that can cut, like where the opening is, it kind of cuts. So I got that jabbed in my arm, and they took fat, muscle, and skin tissue to test it. So my rheumatologist first thought I had scleroderma, flesh-eating disease, eats you from the inside out. Wonderful to hear. So it hardens your intestines and slowly eats you away, and you die. So at this point, I'm 16. I'm about 240 pounds, between 220 and 240. I kind of fluctuated that year. And then find out I might have that. Kind of got depressed about this. I was an athlete. Like, I played baseball. I played, I played road hockey competitively with friends. But I played baseball. I was in leagues and stuff, and that was my passion. Like, I wanted to go play for the Blue Jays. Like, I'm born and raised in Toronto. Love the Jays. Always wanted to play baseball. Some say I was very skilled in the sport. I was an athlete, though. I could play any sport and be above average, if not better. I'm not trying to boast. It's just, I'm not going to bullshit and say I was okay. I was actually an athlete. I was a natural athlete. I could play. I played in the Sky Dome for a fun little hit run and whatever thing that they used to have there, which is now the Rogers Center. Played there, was able to, I could hit over center field at 13. So guess what? I was a big boy. I could throw at 88 miles an hour at 13, 14. That was average. Like, I was only to get stronger. So yeah, the 16 got the skin biopsy done. Found out I had eosinophilic fasciitis, short form fasciitis. What it is a hardening. Well, I'm the worst case ever recorded from my knowledge to this date. I'm not sure. I was the youngest at the time, but there was a show I think my mom was watching a few years back that there was a 2-year-old with what I have, and my prayers are out to that family, and I hope they keep an eye on it, because I didn't. So yeah, 16, found out I had this, and they're like, well, all it is a hardening of the fascia tissue, which is why my skin became like leather. Like, mosquitoes couldn't even bite me and cause harm. It was fucking weird. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. I was still able to move, so I did my thing, started smoking weed more and more for pain management. Cheapest way to do it, because I was selling it too at the time, so hey, why not just smoke my profits? But yeah, so did that for 2 years, and at 18, just before I guess I was 19. So fast forward again, another 2 years, 3 years. I woke up, or I started getting a lot more pain at just before my 19th birthday. My knees started really hurting. I felt like an 80-year-old with arthritis. Like, I woke up and I was stiff. My body was aching. Couldn't move. Took me a while to be able to get into things. I got kicked out of high school at 16 due to my behavior. Hearing that you might have a fleshing disease didn't sit well with a 16-year-old athletic young man who at the time had a little bit of an anger problem. Well, it was a little more under control back then, but still not great. Yeah, I was into what I was into. Not the nicest person to cross. Nice person to be friends with, not greatest person to cross. Yeah, so I did what I was doing. I got kicked out of high school. Went back when I was turning 18 and got thrown out within a month. Not because of my attitude, but because I had to miss a lot of school due to not feeling great. And yeah, that was that. So just before my 19th birthday, like I was saying, I was feeling all these weird pains and shit, and I was like, okay, well, like when I was playing baseball my last year, I could feel it, and my hands were starting to tingle when I hit the ball. I was like, hey, this is really fucked up. And my hands were curling in, like I said, pretend like you're holding a cup right now. That was my hands, both of them, my left and right. So I was like, okay, so I got some claws going on. I'm young, I can't do sports anymore because it was hurting too much. Started hanging around pool halls and stuff when I was 16, 17. So I started playing pool. Again, had to, because of my hands, had to figure out, okay, how am I going to play this game? Figured it out, due time, Yeah, wasn't pleased with it. I would turn on my camera and show you guys my hands, but again, I can't get the angle without showing you my crotch, and that's not something I want to show. So yeah, I was noticing I was losing a lot of flexibility and mobility throughout my whole body. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So at 19, So I turned 19. I was all good. I was still like about the same. My birthday is actually coming up. It's in June. So my 19th birthday, when I was with some friends, got drunk, did my thing. I went to work. No, I didn't work. No, I wasn't working yet. I was working, but I didn't have a job at the time. Got fired. I got fired like a week before my birthday. It was great. Manager hated me because he thought I was trying to get with his wife or something. I don't know. So back to the story. I'm trying to remember what happened, the events. So yeah, June, July, August is slowly starting to feel worse and worse and worse, and sleeping a lot. And I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with me? So I'm like, okay, whatever. I had a job here and there at the bar, being a doorman, bouncer type thing, because I was still a pretty hefty guy. I was about at 19, I hit up to 280. But at the time, like just after, I'd say about August, I started noticing I was slimming down and not eating as much. So I'm like, okay, sure, why not? I'm losing weight, great. Awesome. Being 280 pounds at 6 foot, I was a fat kid. So I went down, and then September, I'm like, okay, well, I'm losing a lot more weight. And then November hit, like, fast forward again. Fuck, I can barely remember. This was, like 13, 14 years ago. No, longer than that. It was 16 years ago when all this went down. Yeah, I woke up one day in November, and I was sore, like unbelievable. It hurt to bend my legs. It took me like 10 minutes just to get out of bed. And I'm like, holy hell. Like, I thought, okay, this fasciitis is kicking my ass. I need some painkillers. Went and saw my doctor, told him what's up. He's like, well, here's some T3s, we'll try it out. Fast forward to December. I'm still on T3s. I'm only taking them when I need them. I'm a pain in the ass. Like, I'm stubborn as fuck. I don't like meds. So I was suffering, but still doing what I had to do. And, so I woke up, I want to say I went out, played pool, hung out with my friends still. I kind of slowed down on my drinking and smoking weed around that time too. So, cause I just wasn't feeling great and had no energy as is. So, I couldn't, I had to stop working at the bar for a bit. Cause I was like, no, man, I can't do my shift today. Is that cool? Owner was fine with it. He didn't care. Sorry if you hear that crumpling. I'm making a coffee. And, yeah, like, I just couldn't do it. And then, December, I will never forget this. Middle of December, I went to get my picture taken. It was really for my grandmother, but it was for my family, like my sister, myself, my brother-in-law. We all went to go do this family portrait, quote unquote, the grandkids portrait for my grandmother and my grandfather and my parents as well. And I didn't realize it, but I was so fucking skinny. I was 100. Again, I was like about 240. I'm gonna say about 240 in September and August, and then by December I dropped down to about 160. And yeah, I was skinny as fuck. Like, I was getting really, really thin, and I didn't notice. And it was a little bit quicker than gradual, but not like in an instant that everybody noticed right away. Everybody thought I was working out or something, because I did lose that weight pretty quick. Yeah, so we went to I went to a pool hall one day, and I almost couldn't walk, man. My buddy was like, "You okay?" And I'd like, as we called it, the gangster limp. I'm like, "Don't worry, man, I just got shot in the leg." And I'm like limping halfway to the car, limping to the car. It was pretty bad. So I woke up. So fast forward past Christmas, I was, in even more pain. Went to see my doctor, got painkillers again, because I stopped taking them for a while until it was really bad. After Christmas, I got some painkillers, went out with my buddy, And I ended up taking 9 in 3 hours because I was in so much pain. Or no, sorry, 6 hours, nine T3s. More than that, actually, but I'm going to say 9. I took a month's supply of T3s in one day. We'll just say it, put it that way. So I had to go back to my doctor 2 days later, and he's like, I just gave you a month worth. And I'm like, yeah, that's how much pain I'm in. He's like, you should be dead. Clearly I'm not. So he's like, well, we need to test your blood again. So we did. Test my blood, went home. December 29th, 30th, I woke up, looked at my ceiling, couldn't move. Couldn't sit up. Couldn't move my arms. I couldn't lift my arms. I could feel them, but I couldn't move them. Couldn't move my legs. Almost felt paralyzed, but so much pain that's why I couldn't move them. Like if I moved it an inch, my whole body just, it felt like lightning. You know, it felt like a pinched nerve would feel, because I've had that too. But it felt like if you guys have ever pulled a muscle, multiply that by like easily 100. And I've never felt pain like that. Like, I don't wish what I have upon my worst enemy. That's how bad it was. It was like torture. It really was. So I woke up, couldn't move, didn't even have the energy to ask for help, like to scream something. Like, I was, at the time, my bedroom was right next to my parents, and I woke up, I think it was, I think it was like 7 in the morning, so my mom was up, and she was still there in the room, but yeah, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even make a noise. I was in that much pain, so I just laid there looking at my TV was on, thank God. Something was on TV, I don't remember what, but I was just staring at the ceiling for an hour, and she came in to check on me, because usually I was up and getting ready to go do whatever, go out for coffee or whatever I was going to do that day. And so she came in, and she saw me like trying to sit up, and she's like, are you okay? And I told her what's up, and she's like, oh, and she like freaked out. You know, moms love you. She calls my dad. My dad starts freaking out, like, what's going on with my son? Yeah, just stayed in bed. I couldn't bend my legs. I couldn't like shift my body off of my bed. It took me like an hour just to get myself to sit up. I didn't want anybody touching me. I didn't want anybody helping. So keep this in mind too. I was stubborn as hell. So yeah, got myself up and did my thing. It took me an hour to just sit up and swivel myself over to the edge of my bed so I could put my feet on the ground. Standing up, whole different story. Fell back down a couple times, and then took me another 20 minutes. All in all, that first day took me about 2 hours to get out of bed. That sucked. So that happened for December, January, February. I couldn't get out of bed even to go see a doctor. March, same thing. Finally, I got a funny story for you though. And so I still had painkillers. I still had T3s. Again, I took 9. I kind of snuck those ones. I took 9 of them. Funny story about this, and I still laugh about it to this day. I took 9 in one night. Like, literally one handful of fucking T3s. I went to... I woke up in the middle of the night. Again, really can't walk. My stomach was hurting. I'm like, I have to, do a number 2. So again, takes me an hour. Swing my legs over. Got up. Still had my pants on from going out, trying to go out that day. Didn't work. I didn't even get to the down the stairs. So I go and I penguin walk myself to the washroom, which luckily was only like, I don't know, it's about normally 13 steps to the washroom, maybe more, maybe 20 something steps, but very close. It's like one and a half rooms over. So made it to the toilet, sat down. or fell down onto the toilet, more or less. Butt first, of course, and pants down. It's good times. Yeah, so I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, constipation due to too many T3s. That took so much out of me getting to that washroom that I couldn't move. Oh, and I shit out a nugget, like literally a little tiny nugget, and that was it. That was all I could do. And I felt amazing after that. In that case, my stomach was great. But yeah, like I couldn't get off the toilet. I'm sitting there, I'm looking down, and I'm like, okay, my pants are there, my underwear's there. I could grab them and pull them up and try to stand. Didn't even have the strength to put my arms down to grab my pants. We had a clock in the washroom, like a radio clock radio, what the fuck it's called. And I look over and I'm like, okay, it's 6:04. I'm like, in an hour, my parents will be awake. No, sorry, it was 4:04. I'm like, in 3 hours, my parents will be awake. So I'm sitting there. I can't move. I can't move my arms. I can't move my legs. I'm like, fuck. I'm laughing at myself, but I can't make any noise either. Like, I don't even have the strength to say anything. Like, to say help or bang on the wall so they hear it. I didn't have the strength for anything. I'm like, fuck. All right, so I'm looking at the time. I'm like, all right, it's 5 now. I'm like, I've been sitting here an hour. My ass is starting to hurt. 5:30 comes. I'm like, fuck, man. I know, hour and a half, somebody will be awake and come to use the washroom and realize I'm stuck on the toilet with my pants around my ankles. 6 o'clock rolled around, and I'm like, I gotta try. This is too much. Like, I don't want my folks to worry. So somehow mustered up the strength, pulled my pants up to just above my knees and held them. Like, I got my underwear on, thank God. Pulled my pants up just above my knees and held them. And then, like, I couldn't lift up my leg high enough to get my legs out of the pants. That's how bad it was. Some of you may be wondering why I'm doing that. So I put my arm on the kitchen counter. Thank God this washroom is shaped the way it is. And I was able to rock and push myself up to my feet. My head hit the wall in front of me, but I was still standing. I was okay with that. And I wasn't loud enough to wake anyone up. So I'm holding my pants still. I'm standing there for about 10 minutes. Get the strength. End up getting back to my room and falling on my bed. Now, half my body's still hanging off my bed, but I was so exhausted just from doing that, I fell asleep. Later on in the morning, my dad came and lifted my feet back onto the bed because I physically could not do it. So then we fast forward to seeing another specialist who is the best in my area and one of the best, I'd say number 2, I think he was, in the world for rheumatology. Great guy, amazing person. Again, he had student doctors as well that work with him, and they were learning from me. He told me, what's going on, what is happening to my body, because I finally got the strength to get myself out of my bed, down the stairs, into a car, from the car to a bench outside the hospital, into an elevator without a wheelchair. Again, I'm a stubborn ass. All the way up to the specialist where he could examine me and give me something different than painkillers. Yeah, that was April. No, that was March. Sorry, that was beginning of March. And then yeah, so I noticed, like, again, I was so out of it. I didn't notice how bad my hands have gotten. I didn't notice how bad my mobility has gotten. It was not an easy time for a 19-year-old male to be doing things, and how skinny I got. So, like I said, from September to December, I dropped about 100 pounds. No, I was about 160, I think, of the picture. Yeah, it was about 160, so I dropped about 90 pounds. From December to this point, I was down to 140 pounds. Now, if you guys look at, I think I've one video up with what I look like somewhat. I'm 210 right now, and I haven't. Yeah, I don't look fat. I have a gut. That's just me. I've always had a gut. Even when after that, at 140 pounds, I had a gut. Looked like those. Yeah, it wasn't good. It was funny to look at. Ribs, everything poking out. I didn't realize any of that. My collarbones are poking out. My ribs are all poking out. My shoulder blades, which still to this day, lost tissue. So if I cut myself there, guess what? My bone's going to pop out. My spine was popping in on the back of my neck. It was horrible looking. I looked like, those starving children. Like, I couldn't eat. I was up 4 hours a day. One, to get downstairs and have breakfast. Then I slept. Then again, I woke up for an hour and a half or an hour to eat and get back up to my room. That was my wake time for all that from December to beginning, say this first week of March when I finally got to the hospital. So, yeah, I find out what's wrong. And then he just doing tests on me, and he's like, you know why your hands are doing what they're doing? And I'm like, no, I have no clue. He's like, your tendons throughout your whole body shortened. I'm like, what? What is that? What do you mean? So the tendons that run, from head to toe, finger to tip, my whole body has shortened. So my movement range is depleted a lot. Like, it went down so much. Again, I was a flexible little fat kid. I could do the splits, no problem. Well, a little problem. I was a fat kid, couldn't get up. But yeah, like, it was crazy. So I hear this. I'm like, okay. He goes, so your skin's like leather due to the fascia tissue hardening as hard as it has. He goes, your weight loss was due to the tissue shrinking your stomach. It hardened to the point where literally one hot dog filled me up. Again, I'm a fat kid in a skinny man's body, and one hot dog filled me up at the time. So, speaking of, now I'm getting hungry. So yeah, this was explained to me, and I was like I can't play sports, can I? And he's like, no, there's no recovering from this. This is what you have, what you know about. This is rare though, because you're only 19, and this usually happens in 80-year-olds that have done like rock climbing, mountain climbing, extreme sports in their time. I said, yeah, I was a 250-pound 14-year-old kid. The most extreme thing I did is put on rollerblades and play hockey. Like, who knew that was an extreme sport? Playing road hockey. Like, sitting up and grabbing a damn donut or a cigarette. That was my extreme sport. Like, holy crap. So yeah, it's one in every, I believe it was 100,000 people in the world get it, but I was the worst that they've ever seen, where it affected the whole body. Some people just get it in the feet. Some people just get it in the hands. But to the point where the tendon shortened was new. The point where, like, to where my hands were at, and how badly, like, my body changed because of it. So yeah, a 19-year-old having all these issues. And this is also where I got back into gaming as well. So yeah, that's a summary of what I went through. Yeah, so you want to try to find that disease? I'll see what I can do about finding a wiki or something of what the hell it's called. I couldn't spell it if I tried, but maybe somebody I know can. Call my mom, ask her. Yeah, man. Sorry, I'm just like remembering everything. Like, I skipped over a lot of shit because this is already a longer video than I'm used to. I think I've almost done 30 minutes. Yeah. It's still, it's been a long time, but it's still tough for me to remember how I used to be and how I am now. Now, I was a very strong young man to a somewhat strong old man. I'm in better shape now than I've ever been. If I could do everything a quote-unquote normal person could do, I would be an athlete still. I would be playing sports. I would be probably, and I'm again not trying to boast, I was good enough to, if I continued, to be in like the majors for baseball. But yeah, that wasn't in the cards, you know. Whatever you believe in, like God, fate, destiny, all that stuff, it wasn't in the cards for me. It wasn't God's plan. It wasn't in the stars. Destiny has other things for me. But it really humbled my ass, though. I'll give you that. I went from, you know, tough, angry kid to a man you see before you today, or you hear. The voice, everything, just mellow. Yeah, takes a lot for me to get angry. All that stuff happened after the fact. Like, I was never a asshole of a kid. I could be, like I still can be now, but I wasn't nothing like I was then. Always want to help people, but besides that. But yeah, that's what brought me back into gaming, was that lovely disease. So this is going to be I'm not going to split this up to 2 parts because that's just too much editing, and I don't feel like editing, and I never edit. So part 2 is how this has affected me in gaming. I was a gamer as a kid. I had the Sega Master System, Genesis, NES. Had an SNES, kinda, and I say kinda because I did that whole, hey buddy, you want I'll trade you the Sega Genesis for your Super Nintendo for a while, and we did that. Yeah, my friend and I, so we swapped, you know, consoles for, I don't know, almost a year, and then we switched back before, you know, the next one came out, more or less. But that's where I got my enjoyment of JRPGs and stuff, was Final Fantasy on Game Boy. It was the first one I ever played, and just went on from there. Well, yeah, I had a Game Boy too. So about 14 to 13 years old, I started, or actually younger, when I was like 12, I started playing sports in leagues and enjoying that so much, and always whenever I could do that. And I went fishing all the time, and, you know, being a kid, outside 99% of the time, so I didn't really play as many games as I used to. And then after I got sick again, I have to give my boss like all the credit in the world. That man gave me a chance where I got fired because of it, because of my disability. They can't say that, but that was the reason. 3-month probation. Yeah, fuck you. Anyways, so he gave me, I was back at the bar doing the doorman thing. Met up, my buddy of mine at the time was telling me about his friend who just opened a cleaning company, and he like started it up. He has a contract for the country club across the street from me, or down the road. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. He goes, yeah, we're looking for another guy. You know, I'm doing it part-time, but he wants somebody a little more that can be there a little more. I could only move, like I could barely walk still, but I was still, you know, again, stubborn ass, still doing my thing. So that's where I got my first job after I got sick, and I was 20, turning 21. And, or I guess 19 turning 20, because it was May of when I started this job. So I told him this was my job, my job interview. This is the best interview I ever had. Once, you know, met him, he came to the bar where I was working, doing the doorman thing. Again, I was sitting, so it was okay. Just checking IDs. I didn't have to throw anyone out. Somebody else did that for me. So I was sitting there, and he came up. He's like, yeah, hey, I'm whatever his name. I'm not going to, well, I can give his name, I guess. Hey, I'm Jay. Yeah, you know this guy. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's sit down. Let's talk. I was like, okay, cool. Sat down with him, having a few beers, shooting the shit. He's like, can you vacuum? I'm like, sure. He's like, you're hired. I'm like, okay. He goes, a trained monkey can fucking vacuum, so I hope you do okay. And I'm like, all right. And I said, but you got to know this. And then I explained my illness to him, and he's like, so how often do you think you can work? I said, well, let's try like 3 days a week. And he's like, okay, cool. I would work one day, and at that time it was a 3-4 hour shift. I couldn't walk for 2 days. So I was in, I needed 2 days off. And then I was in, I needed 2 days off. And then I was in. That's how we did it for my first year. The second year, I pushed my, and then after that year, actually, that was 2000, let's see, 15 years ago. That's when I bought my first PS2 and games. So then the next year, I was, 1 day on, 1 day off, 1 day on, 1 day off. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm getting stronger. I felt better. Again, started buying more video game stuff because I worked the night shift. Nobody was awake, so I needed something to do. And plus, I couldn't go out that much. I didn't have the energy. So every time I was at home, I'd pop on the TV and start playing video games. So then the next year, year 3, I worked 5 days a week. I made myself work 5 days, pain or not. But he, again, amazing person, would always be on call if I needed him. And he would come in 3 of those 5. Actually, started 4 of those 5 for the first couple months, and then I felt good, so I'm like, you know what, give me an extra day. He's like, okay, cool. So I did 4 days with him, 3 days with him, 2 days by myself. And then the next year we would 1 day on, 1 day off. We'd like rotate throughout the week. And then the next year I did 5, and I did 5 for 1 more year, and then 6 ever since. So for the last, 6 years or 5 years, I've been doing 6 days a week. And all through that, buying video games, buying PlayStation 3s, buying, because that was the only thing I could physically do in between, pain management. That's how I dealt with it in a lot of ways. I lost myself in the games because I was so drained after working that I couldn't move. It sucked. Oh God, did it suck. So yeah, 6 days a week. And then, fast forward to recent, like I'm going to say the last 2-3 years, got heavily into gaming, made a lot of good friends, if you will call them that, because they're still very good people to me. I just lost all of them recently because of the fucking PlayStation network going down, and they've all changed their cell phone numbers. And then my Facebook got hacked at the same time. So hence why they got my PlayStation. So I had to deactivate that lovely thing. So it's all good though. But yeah, I've made a bunch of I've met so many good people doing this gaming stuff. And a lot more accepting than people realize, I've made a lot of friends in real life. I've lost a lot of friends in real life, and same thing with video games, man. But that is what I know, in my opinion, saved my sanity. Was playing these games. It I don't even know how to describe it, but except for it really did save my brain. Like, it got me thinking. It got me motivated to wanna wake up in a sense, because I want to see where this story's going. I was never an avid TV watcher or movie. Like, I love movies, don't get me wrong, but being stuck in bed for like 8 months, yeah, really, you lose touch. It took me a good long time to kind of reform, in a sense, to become as social as I am. So yeah, this job is I believe the main reason why I'm as strong as I am today. Like, today I can fucking move beds, furniture, not even blinking an eye. Like 2 days ago, I had to lift my 150-pound grandfather out of a wheelchair, or out of a car into a wheelchair, from the wheelchair to where he needed to sit. He needed to put up his feet. I was able to pick him up off a couch, like stuff I wouldn't think somebody disabled like myself could do. I did have surgery. I forgot about that part. I had surgery on my hand to see if, how old was I? I'm trying to think. Best way I remember dates is who I dated at the time. I think I was about 22 or 23. Um, that sounds about right. So what they did is they cut open my hand, like from my wrist, starting on my wrist on the inside, down my forearm a little bit, and cut my tendons in my hand and stretched out my fingers and reattached them. So, because my hands were honestly looking like a fist. Like I almost couldn't open my right hand, and yet I was still figuring out how to work and how to game. Actually couldn't play like Madden football in certain games that you have to use like the claw technique. I can't do that. Games that you need to press the R2 button as well as the R1 or right trigger and left bumper or right bumper. Sorry, I couldn't do it. Stuff like that. It was very difficult because I had absolutely no movement in my hands. I could not stretch my finger out, whatever. So we tried surgery. I had one of the best hand doctors in the province in my case. He I'll never forget that interview with him, or sit down, whatever discussion. He's like, so these are your options. Why don't you take time and think about, which one you want to do? I said to him, you choose, man. You're the surgeon. I don't give a shit. Those were my exact words to him. And he just looked at me. I'm like, do you need time to figure out which one you want to do? And he just looked at me like, yeah, I kind of do. And I'm like, okay, take your time. Let me know what's up. He's like, seriously? I go, honestly, I would rather be the guinea pig than anybody else going through this crap. I'm like, if it works, sweet. If it doesn't, at least my fingers will be straighter. At least I can somewhat open one hand. And that's pretty much where I'm at now. Is one hand is somewhat open and one hand is pretty much closed. But again, I still figure out how to game. I still figure out how to do my thing. And then that goes into why I can't use mouse and keyboard. Because my left hand, I can't do the WASD. And I can do the mouse, but I can't do the forward, backward, left, right. Doesn't work out like that. This is more about how like gaming like saved my sanity through all this shit. I know a lot of people. I've met people, not even like saying what I have. You know what I mean? Like, there's a guy I met through the Kind of Funny community, which is a group of guys, former IGN guys that started their own thing. Just randomly, him and I started chatting, and he told me he's going through this stuff and going through pain every day, and he's pretty much in bed all the time. Like, I haven't heard from him in a while. I actually wonder how he's doing. Like his stuff, like he was telling me how video games are kind of helping him, and that's exactly what I went through. So him and I could relate on that level. And as violent as video games are, I was never really a violent person. I didn't like violence. I was very good at it, but I didn't like it. That's why I never did it. To this day, I hate violence. But it was crazy. Like, that is what kept me sane. That and great family. I have to give all the praise to my parents. And the handful of friends I had for that. I'll say handful as in I didn't let people know, but a few of them did, and a few of them stuck by me, which, for that part of them, I give them respect. I don't talk to any of them anymore, due to choices they've made later on in life. Oh, one of them just got married and did his own thing recently, and I've spoken to him, but we're not hanging out buddy like we were. But the other main one made bad decisions, man. A lot of my female friends didn't know. I didn't let them know. My own sister didn't know, except for my mom crying to her, which I could hear at night, even though I couldn't move. It was hell, man. Couldn't feed myself, all that stuff. Again, I skimmed over so much details. But yeah, best way I could put it is like picture pulled muscle times 100, like throughout your whole body. But that's how video games really did save me. It kept me from going insane. It helped me manage, instead of falling into depression, like I was always a happy person. Like I would joke around with my specialist. He's like, does this hurt? And I'm like, if I punch you in the face, will that hurt? Like joking around with him. He's like I said, there were student doctors there that were learning. So they would like, okay, can I like pull on your hand and see if it hurts? I said, sure. And so she just touched my finger and I started like, and the woman freaked out. I'm like, I'm just playing with you. Like, calm down. The day I finally got myself to the hospital, the guy that looked me over, again, amazing man. I wish I could remember this guy's name because he deserves a lot of the praise as well as my specialist. Playing jokes on him. Like, he's like, okay, I'm going to test your reflexes. He's testing my reflexes. My leg's not moving. He's like, do you feel that? I'm like, are you touching me? Like, I'm making jokes. And he's like, how do you have such humor when you're in so much pain? I'm like, dude, I'd be killing myself right now if I didn't make this fun and exciting. A whole bunch of stuff, whole bunch of shit that I went through. But I've always used humor to back it up. So between humor and video games really is why I'm still sane. Like, you guys, yeah, just pray you never get what I get. No, you won't. It's very rare. But anybody with a disability, like I said in that same video with the why I use controllers, there's a thing. I wish I knew about this earlier. It was through Greg Miller of Kind of Funny that I found out about this Able Gamers site. And, there are a charity place that helps people worse off than me, clearly, but really disabled, I think both kids and adults, but I know they aim for kids more so. With being able to play video games, because everybody should be able to play video games, I believe was the quote from their website. And I agree. Like, people that are quote unquote normal, you normies out there, who's never, had this, doesn't have a disability. 1 second, sorry, I'm just taking some coffee that I made like 5 minutes ago and forgot about. I made that strong. Yeah, like, don't understand disability, don't understand stuff like that. I'm not going to say you're mad at you guys or anything like that. It's hard to comprehend. Like, you guys feel for kids. Awesome. But there's people, adults, mental illness, there's, physical disabilities. There's so many different things that people go through every day that video games do help them cope. Now, there's a person in my life that does know of people, like not a girlfriend or anything, but just there's somebody I know that works with people with disabilities, both mental health and not. And there's a person that they know that is young. He's in his 40s, but he plays video games. And that's how he helps him deal with his mental illness, because he feels depressed, and he's very antisocial, very much an introvert like myself, but not to the same extent as this gentleman. But that's how he gets out and be social. He finds it more comforting, and he's not intimidated by people on that, because he can be himself and not worried about what other people think. Do they notice that I'm ill? Do they notice that? Let me tell you, man, that plays a toll on your brain. Like I said, people 5 years have known me, 6 years, some of them 7 years, didn't realize that my hands are fucked up. They thought, I'm just remembering a friend back in the day when I first told him about it. He's like, oh, I didn't realize your hands were messed up, man. I thought you were just being like, yo, 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 yo. So, like in a rap video, that's what it kind of looks like I'm doing when it's not. It's literally my hands are fucked. But, yeah, like, video games is what helps me release, helps me stay calm, and not calm, but when I'm feeling depressed, I play them. They keep me sane. When I'm in a lot of pain, to keep my mind off that instead of wallowing and, oh, poor me, taking painkillers, man. No, I don't do any of that. I haven't taken a painkiller in a year now. I wanted to, trust. Oh man, so much pain one day. I wanted to. Oh. almost had to call in sick. I haven't called in sick. That's another thing. I haven't called in sick to work in 5 years because I'm stubborn, and B, I won't let myself, I won't give up. And that's another thing that, not so much video games, just the community of the people I've met, like they are as bad as I went through. I know there's somebody worse than me out there and going through more, but I don't want them to give up, so I say that to them, then I have to prove I won't even do it. So yeah, 5-6 years now I have not called in sick. I've worked every day. Every day I'm scheduled, I should say. And now I'm doing, that, trying to get this started, researching about starting my own company. My goal is to do not so much Rooster Teeth, but getting a more like a funhouse thing, like big bunch of games, big bunch of people doing random videos like this one. Like, this is my little podcast thing. This is just me. Later on, I'm going to branch out and start contacting other people that I want on it, like friends and other people I know. Friends, family, stuff like that. But yeah, like, when I get hotter topics, I'll start putting on friends. Right now, it's just more about my thoughts on things. Yeah. So that helped me with that determination. Yeah, I'm in my mid-30s now. I'm lost a lot of my life due to this illness. I wasn't able to finish my education. I wasn't able to do any of this, but I'm still going to push forward and figure out a way, disabled or not. That's what I want everybody to do. Video games have changed my life, and they have for the better, and they have helped me. So really, I keep hearing video games are bad, blah, 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 parents not letting their kids play them, and I'm like, your kids are turning out worse than I ever was. Like, yeah, like, it's more up to the parents to teach a kid, but anyways, different story. Another topic for another day, because if that ever pops up in media again, I'm gonna lose my shit. Yeah, like, it's huge stuff for me. Like, that's why I'm into it. That's why I'm streaming as much as I am. That's why, like, man, I maybe take a week off doing content because A, I need to rest. I work 6 days a week, and B, my internet's down, or my OBS is being a SOB, because it likes to be an SOB if anyone's used OBS for streaming. It's actually what I use to record this podcast. So, yeah, man, it's a long video. Sorry, it's an hour almost. So I might end it up. I'm gonna try to wrap it up. So yeah, video games. Anybody that's going through some shit, try it. If you know somebody going through some stuff, get them something, But for me, this is how I've dealt with being a disabled gamer, was literally games. What I have all the way, from when I was 13, 14 years old, being like I said, a big athlete, man. Like, very strong little 13-year-old kid that was sitting there lifting crazy shit. I could lift a 200-pound man back in the day, 13, 14 years old, throwing around a buddy of mine that was 200 pounds without even breaking a sweat. Like, I'm close to that again, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, like, that's how I've dealt with what I have. That's what it is for me to be a disabled gamer, is I will never stop playing due to that, and this is the same reason why I haven't quit my job ever, and I'm not going to until it's done, or I haven't, like, my job's going to be done in like 2 to 3 years. It's going to be, they've sold the properties, our contract, they're not going to renew our they sold the property where our contract is, so that place is shut down, which means our contract's gone. That's our main contract too. We built the company, or my boss built the company on that contract alone, as well as like smaller ones here and there, which again isn't enough work to support me. So I'm trying to get this going faster and faster, and I don't care how, I'm throwing money at everything, even though I don't have it. But yeah, like, I'm in debt already. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, man. Like, I'm using video games to support myself, to try to get some other friends I have support, and my family, even like my parents. Like, I've been helping them with money for years, and that's the other reason why I have none. But yeah, I'm trying to do all this with video games in mind, just because that helped me so much get through what I went through, that I want to try to do the same thing with it. And like, if I've got to go, and I hate public speaking, but I'll do it type deal. And if I have to go to places and talk to parents about, well, you should let them try to play video games, and get in touch with places like Able Gamers and get the word out about that place. Get other things going. I'm really want to do a stream for them, and I've talked to them about it in the past, but real life kicked me in the ass and I couldn't do it. Doing a charity stream for them. Being a disabled gamer means a lot. In a way, it means a lot to me. It means a lot that there's a company or corporation or a charity out there aimed towards that. Like I said, I wish what I have upon my worst enemy, just for the amount of pain I'm in, and every day, like, it doesn't go away. Just, I'm always smiling, I'm laughing. That's how I deal with it. And video games on my really bad days. Yeah, shitty weather outside doesn't help either. So yeah, any questions, comments, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down, all that stuff. Sorry if I ran around bunch of different paths. It's a lot in my brain about this. Even if I wrote this stuff down in like bullet point, I'd still be going off on a tangent here and there, because I tried to skim over some things like details, and then I remember, oh shit, I should have said that because it relates to this. But another part of not editing, so you guys get the whole rigmarole. I apologize. At the same time, I'm not sorry. But yeah, thanks everybody, for whoever's watching this, for coming, watching, listening. Got any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I will try to get back to you as soon as I get them. Because I do have to work in a couple hours. I was thinking about doing a quick little stream as well, so yeah, I could probably do a 2-hour stream. Do a 2-3 hour stream again. And yeah, so everybody, thanks again. Comment, subscribe. Love me, hate me, thumbs up, thumbs down, it's up to you guys. And I will talk to you all later. Boop.